Millions have lived here, millions more have left. Today, let me take you to the Lower East Side of New York City to explore the Tenements. We'll explore the history, looking at both the good and the bad. Because while beautiful on the outside, sometimes disaster strikes.
Witnesses say a thunderous explosion rocked the 5-story building. Then, within seconds, fire engulfed it. Hundreds of firefighters poured in to battle the raging inferno. Dense black smoke making it almost impossible to see just a few feet.
You know, so it's the early 20th century, and you have this guy, Jacob Riz, and he's a photojournalist and an immigrant himself. And you know, he puts out this book called How the Other Half Lives. And this is super important because it helps to pass the Tenement Act of 1901, if I remember correctly.
Dr. Samuel Greenbaum is a seasoned tenement historian and tenement expert who grew up on the Lower East Side himself, absorbing the area's history from a young age.
He grew up so fast and to try to pack in as many members of a vulnerable community in numbers that would make your modern fire marshal just have a heart attack. I mean, we thought COVID was bad. Imagine having Spanish flu in a place like this. Can't even itch your nose without elbowing your wife in the face. And talk about domestic disputes.
My wife certainly wouldn't have liked that.
And who would? But you know, anyway, that Tenement House Act of 1901 basically forces these landlords to provide humane living conditions. Fire escapes. Can you believe they didn't even have fire escapes?
I can imagine that led to a lot of pointless loss of life.
Yeah, I mean, the Triangle Shirtwaist factory fire, 146 people died, and one woman just burned to death. It's 15 feet above the ground.
Wow. You have quite a memory for tragedy.
I mean, it's my home. It's my backyard. It's my honor to remember them.
I bet you know a lot about explosions.
Explosions?
Steam, electrical, gas.
Sure. I mean, there's plenty. Yeah.
Do you think landlords have changed since those days?
I mean, if you're asking what I think you're asking, then no.
What is it that you think I'm asking?
Is there such thing as a good landlord?
Well, would you say so?
Well, I mean, as a landlord myself, no, there isn't.
Thank you, Dr. Greenbaum.
No, anytime.
So, overcrowding, first and foremost, was a thing back then, still a thing now. Building maintenance, you'd think landlords would want to take care of their buildings, but...
Rachel Martinez is a housing rights advocate who spent her career focused on the lives of New York City's tenement residents.
Was it a problem with the gas line?
Was what?
Was it a problem with, the gas line, the heat?
It might be. I'm not talking about anything specific. In my line of work, we get hundreds of these reports, but if you want a specific example...
No, that's fine. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no, you're good. But yes, also high rent, pests, accessibility issues, health and safety hazards. I mean, you look into some of these buildings and they still have lead paint.
Wow. What year is it? We're still having lead paint? I bet it's pretty flammable, too.
Yeah, probably. These are just a handful of the issues that residents face. Paying too much money to have too little space in places that are, frankly, just dangerous. Many of these buildings were built pre-1947, and they're just...
Powder kegs.
Sure.
How many of these buildings get reported to the city?
Oh, I mean, all of them.
So, just as an example, how many were reported as fire hazards?
I'd have to reference my data to give you an exact number.
What about explosive hazards?
Explosive hazards.
Yeah, conditions that are conductive to, catastrophic explosions, building collapses, loss of life.
That sounds like a better question for the fire marshal or an actuary.
You're saying people don't report those kind of conditions to your organization?
No, just that with catastrophic events like what you're describing, it's not that simple. Many circumstances have to go exactly right, or rather, exactly wrong for...
And it's a lot of things and a lot of people involved, so no one's to blame, right?
I'm not really sure what we're talking about anymore.
Excuse me, you're Manny Sullivan, right?
Oh, yeah, that's me.
I'm filming a documentary project on the Lower East Side, the Tenements, and what it's like living in the tenements. Are you free for an interview?
No, I'm actually kind of busy right now.
It'll be super quick, I promise.
What is this for? What are you interviewing me for?
It's on the tenements. It's on living in the tenement buildings. It'll be super fast. It'll be like explosively quick.
All right, fine.
All right, great. Let's just do it back here. Must be a lot of work maintaining all these buildings.
It's whatever.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I started off as a handyman. It must have been like 30 years ago. So now I do a mix of being a super and contracting. I feel like a lot of young people disregard.
What's the biggest challenge in your role?
Well, it's a complicated job. I mean, there's so many laws. You won't believe the laws that's out there. There's so much red tape.
So much red tape. Yeah. And it must be annoying because it's not like your job is life or death. It's not like you kill people.
Yeah.
And you work for Al Rosen, no?
The boss? Oh yeah, he owns a few buildings in the area. Look, what's this movie about? Because I gotta get going.
It's about the history of the tenements, the dangers of living in them, and the people responsible for those dangers. What's the worst thing to ever happen in one of your buildings?
I don't know. About a decade ago, there was a murder.
You remember that fire on 3rd Street last year? Killed 2 people.
Yeah. That was terrible.
You worked that building, no?
No, I wasn't the super, no.
But you've contracted for it.
I do a lot of contracting. I don't remember individual buildings.
People say they smelled gas in that building.
Look, I don't know what you're getting at.
Con Ed said they shut down the gas to that building. Pending a review, they said. So it's weird that people would have smelled gas. Somebody would have had to tap in, bypass the line. Somebody handy.
Look, I don't know what you're getting at. I have to go back to work. You gotta get out of here.
Here we have Al Rosen, a landlord of a number of buildings in the area. He's going to be talking about the challenges of managing historical buildings.
Hi, yes, I'm happy to have with your, it's a history thesis you said, right?
Yep, I'm a history student at Columbia.
Incredible.
What are some of the challenges of managing these tenements?
Great question. A lot of these buildings are historic, so you want to protect the legacy of these facades, but at the same time, historic doesn't always mean something good, right? You don't want a historic kitchen or a historic bathroom or historic...
There's probably a lot of disasters.
I wasn't finished. But yeah, a lot of these buildings were built pre-electricity, a lot of them without plumbing, so they had to be modified to add a lot of these amenities.
What's the worst disaster to happen in one of your buildings?
I don't know.
You remember the fire a year ago on 3rd Street?
Yes, it was a terrible tragedy.
2 people died. 2 wonderful people.
Yes, it was.
You owned that building, didn't you?
Yes, indeed.
Must have come as a great shock.
Yes.
People say they smelled gas that day.
Yes, well, I get it. It was a terrible tragedy, but we're supposed to talk about history right now, right?
I talked to Manny Sullivan.
Oh, yeah, the super.
Contractor, too. Amateur contractor, willing to look past red tape, legality.
Wait, I don't know what you're talking
He
about.
worked on your building. Con Ed shut off the gas, somebody spliced around it, and did a shitty job doing it. The gas exploded. People died.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Someone I loved died in that fire. You killed her.
Wait, I don't understand what you're talking about, and I think all of these things are not necessary, and I don't really get what you're doing right now. You can say kind of funny, and I'm not.
Now you're gonna die.
If you're seeing this, then I am dead. Al Rosen didn't kill himself. He didn't jump off that building. I killed him. This movie is my confession. I killed somebody that I loved. Goodbye. Millions have lived here, millions more have left. Today, let me take you to the Lower East Side of New York City to explore the Tenements.
Que c'est triste Venise, au temps des amours mortes. Que c'est triste Venise, quand on ne s'aime plus. On cherche encore des mots, mais l'ennui les emporte. On voudrait bien pleurer, mais on ne le peut plus. Que c'est triste Venise, lorsque les barcaroles ne viennent souligner que des silences creux, et que le cœur se serre en voyant les gondoles abriter le bonheur des couples amoureux.